The most important consideration to think about, and what the most common questions are related to sometimes, is related to the role of melatonin. And I'm going to blow that topic out of the water right now, because there is so much research that is emerging about the role of melatonin, specifically also in relation to autoimmunity. Everything that I'm going to say applies to a general population, but specifically, there's some specific data specifically for dosing around melatonin for those with autoimmunity and the why. Melatonin is a hormone that your brain makes at night. And typically melatonin is high, and it's really important in the initiation sleep and maintaining the sleep cycle to keep you from waking up in the middle of the night as well. Unfortunately, what happens is, in autoimmune, as many of you already know, your hormones are really jacked up. And one of the hormones that get really jacked up is adrenal problems, which we call adrenal fatigue. And typically in the initial phases of adrenal fatigue, we have really high cortisol issues. And guess what? Cortisol and adrenal are always opposite. So what happens is cortisol, melatonin are always opposite. If your cortisol, which should be low at night, is high at night, which is really common in early adrenal fatigue. High cortisol at night will push your melatonin down, so you get low melatonin at night, completely disrupting your sleep cycle. Okay, so how important is it to actually master your hormones so that you can actually help the cortisol return to normal levels and melatonin come up? Huge, which is why we have a program called My Hormone Masterclass, specifically focused on hormones and adrenals. And our main program, Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally, which also includes a big pillar is hormone balance. So which is why we're going to talk a little bit when we go into supplementation about what are some supplementation that's good in relation to hormonally related sleep problems. But that being said, we have several programs that address hormones and adrenals. There's actually more and more data coming out about the role of melatonin, specifically high dose melatonin, in helping heal leaky gut. Yes, I use melatonin to help our clients heal leaky gut. The other thing is that melatonin is also a major antioxidant, which means that it's actually been shown to decrease oxidative stress and damage to your brain, which means that can it decrease the risk of cancer? More and more so, they're finding evidence for that. Can it help in states neurological degenerative disorders like Alzheimer's disease? Data is coming out, yes, and not just yes, but hell yes. So melatonin is big. And the thing for me also is that a lot of the dosing that you're talking about in the regular population to help with sleep, you're talking about 0.5 to 5 milligrams. Specifically in autoimmunity, the dosing that we're talking about could be anywhere from 5 to 20 milligrams. And that's where the data is really supporting a lot of issues relating with autoimmunity with sleep, antioxidant, also as well as decreasing inflammation overall. How do each of these supplements actually address one of these pillars and the root causes of insomnia? So be ready to take a lot of notes, because I'm going to teach a lot. First of all, Rest Her. Why is it number one on this list? Number one on this list is because Rest Her is melatonin, okay? And if you actually look at the ingredients here, if you look at the screen here, each tablet of Rest Her has melatonin that's 5 milligrams, okay? Making it really easy to dose, because remember, when I talk about people with autoimmunity, if you are dealing with autoimmunity, you may need higher doses like 5, 10, 15, maybe even 20 milligrams. In leaky gut, I typically will go 10 to 20 milligrams, all right? And in people with resistant sleep problems, I typically will do that as well. I find that in the autoimmune population, it's closer to 10 to 20 milligrams. It's going to be the usual dose. So what's really cool here is that if you look at it, the melatonin is 5 milligrams. There's B6, which actually helps with the utilization of melatonin as well. A lot of B vitamins are actually needed to create and utilize melatonin. So Rest Her is really cool because each tablet is 5 milligrams, and you can actually use 1, 2, 3, or 4. And most people, I'm just going to tell you, start with 1 to 2 and about 20 minutes before bed on an empty stomach. Why is this melatonin so much better? Is that it's biphasic. Okay, first of all, it's pure melatonin, very few other ingredients. There are a lot of sleep products that has melatonin as a component, but has other ingredients in it that could be smelly, yucky, or allergic to it. So for me, I like that it's a pure melatonin product. And it's biphasic, meaning that you will get definitely it will help with onset of sleep, but it'll also help you stay asleep, because melatonin, if it's only going to work for an hour or two in the middle of the night, you're going to find yourself popping awake, right? So biphasic, meaning that it peaks early, and then it peaks again middle of the night to early morning. So you're going to get long lasting melatonin support. And so I'm talking like 5 to 20 milligrams is the typical kind of dosing, unless there's some contraindication when you shouldn't take melatonin, which there rarely is, but most people tolerate this really well. Anyone from age 12 and above can take this melatonin, and it's called Rest Her. Okay. So melatonin, one of the root causes is actually lower levels of melatonin with people with autoimmunity. And that's multiple reasons. But one of them could be because of high cortisol due to adrenal fatigue can actually push your melatonin right down. So this will help replace that rhythm.